Welcome back. So we are now in part two for May 26th, and we are going to open our student books, page 118, and go back to part one. It says, before you write, talk with a partner, answer the questions. What is the environmental problem in this photo? Why is it a problem? How does this problem hurt people and the environment? So this was to be your composition and the homework for this particular lesson. What I wanted to do was to go over some of the vocabulary that you might be using in that composition. So what is this a picture of? That's right. It is a picture of a nuclear power plant. And what do you see coming out of the nuclear power plant? It looks like pollution or something going into the environment. So I looked that up, and you could also find that. And it said that the pollution, the environmental pollution, is much less than coal or any fossil fuel that creates pollution in the air. However, there is some. The flip side is that the destruction of the nuclear power plant is catastrophic. So you have to weigh the benefits of whether or not it's worth it. Here are some of the vocabulary words that you might want to use if you're going to be writing about this. I wanted to ask you to think of them first. So in your notebook or in your workbook, please write down at least 5 or 6 words that come to mind when you think of nuclear power plant and the environment. Okay, let's see how many we had that were the same. So the first one, radiation. Next, toxic or toxic waste, right? Toxic waste. The next one, cancer. The next, uranium. What is it? Uranium. In order to get uranium, it has to be mined. So I put down mining. This was after reading about this. The next one, I also discovered that mining uranium uses vast amounts of energy. So that can be actually subtracted from the savings that we get from using a nuclear power plant is the energy that's needed in order to create the power plant in the first place. And it is significant. So what is this word? Significant. Savings can be significant. The destruction, if a nuclear power plant is in somehow compromised, can be significant. Anybody remember the last time? What are the last 2 large nuclear power plant disasters? One, Chernobyl, and the last one, Fukushima in Japan. That's right. Okay. This word, right? Consequences. What is it? Consequences. The result of, which are many times it's unintended consequences because someone hasn't really thought something out to the end. The next one, affected. AFF, affected. I guess I need to make that A little more A-like. The next one, emissions. What is it? Emissions. So what word does emission come from? Close to emit, right? Give out, emit. The next one, restricted area. I think of a nuclear power plant, I definitely think of restricted area. What does restrict mean? Hold in, keep out. Not allowed in, not allowed out. Next one, carbon dioxide. Next, emit. And we've got cancer. Also in pollution, there is a word that is very frequently used with people who have respiratory problems. The word is asthma. And it sounds like a Z, but it's the spelling for asthma is ASTHMA. What is it? Asthma. And what kind of a condition is it? Respiratory. What is it? Good. Respiratory, which comes from the word respiration. What is it? And what does respiration mean? Right. So it is the movement of oxygen, taking in of oxygen within the body into the tissues, and the transporting of carbon dioxide in the opposite direction. Right? So take in oxygen, give out carbon dioxide. This is called what? Respiration. And the system is the respiratory system. What is it? Respiratory system. Okay, so that would be the homework would be to write a composition about what is the environmental problem in this photo, why is it a problem, and how does this problem hurt people and the environment. Okay, let's go on to page 119. And here it says, plan the paragraph about an environmental problem in your city or community. Include the causes and effects of the problem. So you're going to be using the connecting words since, therefore, so, because of. Use the graphic organizer to make notes on your ideas. So first, you would use this diagram, decide on what your topic is going to be, use the diagram to help you easily write your composition once you get all of your ideas down. Part 2 says, write a paragraph about an environmental problem in your city or community. Identify the problem in your topic sentence. Explain the causes and effects and provide supporting details for each cause. Use the paragraph in exercise 1B and the graphic organizers in exercises 1C and 1D to help you. So it says after you write, but I want to go over this before you write. Number 1, the topic sentence identifies an environmental problem. 2, I clearly explained the causes and effects. 3, I provided supporting details for the causes of the environmental problem. So that we cannot do together, but you can do that at home and email that to me. Even if you don't email it to me, please do the work. Please create and write the composition. The rest of this lesson, I would like us to take out the workbook and turn to page 108. And there's a QR. You can use your cell phone to listen to this after we've done the lesson. It is. Read, circle true or false, then listen. Everyone, the rabbit problem in Australia. This is page 108. Oops. So 108, and this was 118 and 119 for part 2. Okay, here we go. The rabbit problem in Australia. Australia is a very large country with plants and animals that are different from any place in the world. Until 1859, there were very few rabbits in Australia. In that year, a man named Thomas Austin moved to Australia from England. He liked to hunt rabbits, so he asked his nephew in England to send him 24 healthy English rabbits on a ship. When the rabbits arrived, Austin let the rabbits go on his farm. Because one rabbit can have 30 to 40 babies in a year, and other animals in Australia don't eat the rabbits multiplied very quickly. Soon, there were rabbits all across Australia. By the 1880s, the rabbits were a real problem. So this is how you would say this date. By the 1880s. What is it? Good. Next. Rabbits cause problems because they eat a lot of the plants that farmers grow. They eat too much grass, so other animals have no food. Rabbits also destroy land and kill young trees. People in Australia have tried many ways to control the rabbits. In 1907, they built a fence that was almost 2,000 miles long to try to stop the rabbits, but it didn't work. In 1950, there were about 600 million rabbits in Australia. Scientists gave the rabbits a disease to reduce the number of rabbits. The disease killed about 500 million rabbits. But by 1991, the number of rabbits had increased again to 200 to 300 million. Now there are fewer rabbits in Australia, but the country still has a serious problem with rabbits, all connected to those 24 rabbits that Thomas Austin brought from England. People today are still furious about what he did. Any thoughts about this, what you just read? I know I can't hear you, but I still want you to be speaking in English and expressing your thoughts. Okay, so my thought was, why isn't England overrun by rabbits? And of course, it's a smaller place. That was the first thing that came into my head, because if the rabbits were brought from England, how does England handle that population? Okay, so let's go to number 1. Rabbits first came to Australia in 1907. True or false? That's right, false. When did they come? 1859. What is it? Okay. 2. 20 rabbits came to Australia on a ship. True or false? False. How many came? 24. Notice what they also are using 24 healthy rabbits. Notice that as we're going along, the sentences become longer, more complicated. They're using dependent, independent clauses. They're using more adjectives. This is something you want to start doing, unless you already do, in your compositions and in your explanations of when you speak. You want to be using clauses, phrases, introductory phrases, adjectives, and more vocabulary. Thinking about it when you're doing your work here in class. Number 3, a rabbit can have 30 to 40 babies a year. True. Number 4, rabbits were a real problem in Australia in the 1850s. No, because most of the 1850s there were no rabbits. It was just until the end of the 1850s that rabbits were introduced into Australia, so that's false. Good. Number 5, the Australians built a fence 2,000 miles long to stop the rabbits. True. Number 6, there were 200 million rabbits in Australia in 1950. False. How many rabbits were there? 600 million. Number 7, rabbits are not a serious problem in Australia now. False. Number 8, people today are happy about what Thomas Austin did. Definitely false. What is it? People today are still furious about what he did. Okay, so let's start. We have a minute or so left, a few minutes left. Let's go to page 109. Complete the chart. Use the information in exercise 1. Cause, we're still talking about cause and effect. Number 1, causes of the rabbit problem in Australia. Number 1, Thomas Austin brought 24 rabbits to Australia. Number 2, what's another reason for the rabbit problem in Australia? That's right. Rabbits have 30 to 40 babies per year, so that is a cause of the rabbit problem. What is number 3? What is another cause for the rabbit problem? That's right. Other animals don't eat rabbits, so they multiply quickly. These are all the causes that create these effects on the other side. So what is one effect of the rabbit problem in Australia? They eat a lot of plants that farmers grow. Another effect? They eat too much grass and other animals don't have enough food. Another effect? Rabbits destroy the land. Number 4, rabbits kill young trees. Okay, so we're going to stop here and pick up in section 3, page 109 in the workbook, and we'll do match the antonyms So what does the word antonym contain? What small word? Anti. It means against or the opposite. Okay, see you next time.